Ladies and gentlemen, this is your captain speaking. Please prepare to sink the Bismarck. Anyway, thought I'd try something a little different this time. I don't know. Maybe I'm just playing around. Maybe I'll land onto something. Anyway, just a quick reminder before we go ahead and get started to please like, subscribe, and follow. If you are enjoying the content, it does help the channel to grow, and it does appease those algorithm gods. Or maybe because it appeases the algorithm gods, it helps the channel to grow. Either way, I think y'all get the point. So let's get on with today's program. The British are on the ropes. We have started to invade the British Isles in and of themselves. As you can see, we've taken eastern England. And part of our big research, we had a big research breakthrough sometime, I think, during the last transmission, but we couldn't do anything about it because, well, we had a lot of fleet engagements to take care of. Now, what did I say I wanted to do? What I wanted to push through next, or do I just want to go ahead and do multiple? Let's go ahead and put that on engines for now. Push our engine technology first through a little bit more. But we did have, again, a really big. Can I build more of those? Yes. See, cannot build battleship 3 is obsolete. So any of our previous existing battleships, we can still refit. Sorry, not upfit. We can still refit them, I think. But why are we really going to want to do that? Because we had a breakthrough in dreadnought style hulls. So what do we want to do first? The small dreadnought goes up to how many tons? We can do 19,500 tons on the small dreadnought. And I think I'm going to just go with a small dreadnought build first. Because, well, for one, they're a little easier to work with. They are a little easier, or at least maybe not so much easier, but it'll be faster to build. The regular dreadnought, however, how big can they? Oh my! The maximum hull displacement is 22,500. So I'm actually ahead of the game. I'm well ahead of the game right now on shipyard size. But I'm going to go with the small dreadnought. Max optimal speed is 21.5 knots. And I think my Tarringans are 19 knots right now. So this is going to be twofold. I'm going to need to build faster cruisers because my dreadnoughts are basically the way I want to do them. I'm gonna want to try 20 knots. They're just going to outrun even my heavy cruisers. The light cruisers, the Ariadnes, are still good. They were I managed to plan ahead for that and build them at 24 knots, so they're still going to be okay. But what do I want to do with this guy? So let's see here. We're going to need a main tower. And do we want to just start off with a basic four-deck tower, or would it behoove us 9.5, 3.5, 10.5? Or not 3.5, it's 3.8. So the advanced deck tower doesn't really get us much more, but how about the advanced 2 tower? It basically bumps everything up by 1, except for the long range accuracy. Long range accuracy goes up by 2. Should we go ahead and put the advanced 4-deck tower on here? Now, there's a couple of different ways to consider housing this. I'm going to go ahead and slap down the advanced tower. I think the advanced tower is going to look really nice. That should work really well. We don't have. I don't think we have super firing platforms right now that are big enough for the main guns. So what we're going to want to do, I think, is I'm going to want to put this thing forward, and I'm going to want to space these funnels in a certain way Let me lay down the main guns first. We're gonna go with side guns, and I'm gonna go with 11-inch guns because the 11-inch guns have been serving us very well up to this point. So let's go ahead and put a couple of 11-inch guns there, and then we'll go with centerline guns, right? And we'll put 11s on the fore and on the aft. And that actually balances the ship out really well. Now, what do I need to do with this? And this is going to pose some potential complications on the design. Can I put a funnel here? I can. Okay, we'll put that right there. And what about if I put another funnel maybe right there? That gets close-ish. So what do we want to do with those? Well, I do need the secondary tower. 6 aiming speed, 6.5, 7 aiming speed. And it's another. Let's just put the basic. Whoa! What is that? What was that? What is it doing there? There we go. I was gonna say, why is it being so weird? So let's see here. That's going to alter our aft weight kind of drastically. So what do we want to do about this? Well, first of all, let's go ahead and increase the beam. We're going to go ahead and bump the beam up on this. We're going to go 5. Let's see what 5% gets us. We're going to make this guy a little. This guy is going to be a little fat. This is a small dreadnought hull, right? Okay. Wow. Can I wouldn't that be interesting if I could take that and put it on the because I want 4 turrets. I want to try to get 4 turrets. So let's go another 5%. We're going to take that off for now. And what I would like to do, I need to get enough funnels on here, basically to get my efficiency up high enough. Okay, now that poses the problem of what are we going to do with our center line guns? We can put 11-inch gun, not center line, sorry, side mounts. Side guns. We're going to go with 11-inch side guns. And if I put those there, and I hate it when they do this. I really do hate it when they do this. So, what we might do, and the ship is overweight, so let's go maximum weight. We're going to go, well, actually not maximum weight, we'll go with 20,000 tons. Okay, let's go, no, let's not do that. Let's go with multiple expansions. That's going to lighten the engine. Now the problem, though, is going to be placement of the gun itself. Okay. No, why? Why does it have to be like that? What was the rotation key again? There. Now, German shipbuilding at the time, it was kind of interesting because they would do this kind of thing. right? I mean, technically I could do that, but oh, good grief, come on. I get it right where I wanted it. There we go. Now, you could do something like that, though this is why I don't like doing this. And some of the early German dreadnoughts actually were designed in such a way. They actually did have the offset turrets. Yeah, I kind of don't think I want to do that. So let's see what we can do. And yeah, these are going to have to overhang. Even though I really don't, it looks kind of goofy when you do that. So let me see here. I'm going to put triple stack there. We're going to go with induced draft boilers. That's going to make the maintenance on these crazy. Okay, we've got that, we've got that. Not center lines, I don't want center lines, we want side guns. Because the side guns are going to allow us to do just that. Okay, so the forward offset is still really bad. And there's still a really bad forward offset. Let's see if we can't fix that. We're going to go with the Harvey armor. We're going to go with Barbette timbers. We're going to go ahead and put anti-torque 1 on here. We don't have double bottom hulls yet, but reinforced bulkheads and Citadel 1. Standard ratio shells. With these, we're going to go with the standard AP shells, maybe. But honestly, we might even be able to get by. Okay, so what can we do about this? Can we push this back just a little bit? Nudge that back. All right, we're going to take this and nudge this back a little bit. Take that. Nudge that back. Those are even, right? No, the starboard weight offset is still there. Nudge that back too. Nudge this back. You know, we probably put those there and it would be fine. Yeah, okay. Okay, now we got an aft offset problem. Right now, I'm really just trying to tighten these up. No, the maintenance is done going way up. Now, here's another question. Can I reduce the beam some more? Because right now, well, actually, she's not terribly fat right now. What if I went to 5% on the beam? That's going to narrow that up a bit. We'll go back to 20,000 tons. I want to keep it at about 20,000 tons. It's only another 2,500 tons over the Zeringens, right? The Zeringens are 17. No, it's 3,000 tons over the Zeringen. This is going to be a much more effective ship. So let's see here, 14 to 16 on the accuracy. What we can do, actually, it's funny if you take that and make them a little bit longer. Then it goes to 16, 17. And the penetration capability goes a lot more on it. So where do we want to set these guys up? We want to try to set them for about 10,000 meters, maybe. So for the main belt, we're going to go with, I'm going to over armor these just a little bit. We're going to go 12.6. Okay. And that's going to bring the armor down. And we can always fiddle around with this a little bit more. We're going to stick with the same 1 inch on the main decks, on the decks. All right, and then on the inner deck, can I go up to, nope, we can only go to 0.6. So we'll go with a 1/2 inch on the citadel. It'll add that layer of protection there. The conning tower, on the other hand, can I go to 18? Or do I want to do that? Do I really need to do that? Yeah, we'll keep the conning tower pretty high. The superstructure, we'll leave that at 2 inches. Man, 56 million per ship. It's going to be one of the things. Once you get into the dreadnoughts, it's going to be a lot more of a demand on things like that. So let's see here. What do we want to do? We got Harvey armor. We got standard shell size. Is at 10,000 meters, is 14 inches of penetration enough? I think so. What happens if we go with heavy shells? It goes up to 15 inches. 15, 16. It brings the accuracy down. I think we're okay, actually. I think we're okay. 0.6 to 0.8. 0.6 to 0.8, actually it does nothing to the, we'll go with standard shells now. We can always change this later. We're going to go with white powder and gun cotton, not the ballistite. I don't know about the ballistite. The ballistite might be good for close range ships. Enhanced reloading, advanced hydraulics. Coincidence rangefinder, we're pushing 60 million right now. I could drop the weight of the ship a little bit, which might help. Some anyway. With the okay, we got a little bit of a forward weight offset. What happens if I do that? And bring that back even more. Now, if I bring this back, it's going to it's going to drastically change the weight offset. All right. And I still have to actually arm my secondaries, which I might with this one just stick with the 105s because those are proving incredibly effective. So anyway, turret armor. We're going to want 12.7. We're going to want about, I think, 16 inches on the turret. We're going to go with 2 inches on the top, and the barbets are maxed out. Okay, so let's go ahead and start looking into these casement guns, and I'm going to slap some 4-inch guns on there for now and bump them, and then we're going to go ahead and increase the length on those barrels too. All right. So what do we get out of these? Close range eyes, 14 to 16. I mean, these are Mark IIs, and these are really going to be, again, fire starting on larger ships, and they're going to be forward weight offsets. Again, it's terrible. Okay, so we've got 4s, and should we stick with the 88s, or should I go ahead and just put 50 millimeter guns in all of those? You know what? The 88s don't even go in there. So we'll put 50, maybe 57 millimeter. You know what? We'll leave them 50 millimeter. And we'll go ahead and load these up with a mess of little 50 millimeter guns. So 50 millimeter guns, we're going to go ahead and max length. And do we want 50s or do we want 57s? We'll leave them at 50s. I think 50s are okay unless the 47s prove better. So let's see, that's 20, it's 5 to 5.9. If we go down one, it's, wow, actually the accuracy is a lot better on the 47s. And honestly, the 47s are still working. Damage is 26, 26, 27, 2760. 2760 versus 2965 and a half. So the 50s do more damage. Rate of fire is 1117 versus... Why is the rate of fire lower? No, it's 1117 versus, yeah, 1113. That's really weird. The 47s are have a slightly, I mean, seriously, point 0.02 or something like that, 0.04. What is that? But the accuracy is a lot better. So I think we'll stick with the 47s for now. Again, we can always upgun those later. And secondaries, and here's going to be the trick with the secondaries. There's not really a lot of room for secondary batteries. I could put a pair of 88s here, but what's that going to do? It might actually interfere with the firing arc on the big guns. So for now, this is actually probably a really solid build for a early era, a very first early era dreadnought. I mean, the firepower alone is already being doubled. Actually, and then some, because of now not only are they Mark II 11-inch guns, but they are going to fire faster. They're going to be more accurate, and obviously the range on them is drastically improved over that of the early era stuff. So we're going to do standard ratio. We're going to do max HE. We're going to do nose fuse with standard AP shells, which, funny enough, actually, what do the semi-armor piercing shells look like at 10,000? 7.7 inches of penetration? No, that's not going to be good. We want 15. We're going to want that 14 inches of penetration that we get with the standards. I could, again, bump it up to heavier shells, which the heavy shells are going to do more damage, more fire chance on the HE and stuff like that. But I don't really think we need it. What happens if I go down to light shells? That could be interesting. At 10,000 meters, we're punching 13.3 inches of armor, and it doesn't have a drastically big effect on the rate of fire. So we'll go ahead and stick with the standard shell size, because I do find that the capped shells actually do less damage. So I don't like to go into the capped shells typically. Though, you know, the funny thing is, you could make destroyers and lighter ships that have capped shells that will give them the ability to punch through larger ships. Though that's not generally the idea with destroyers. All right, so we are at 63 million. Do I want to go ahead and bump another? Let's put another inch of armor on the belt and see what that does. That takes us to 64. So let's go to 6.5 and 6.5 on the 64. We're just shy of 65 million. It's a 20,000 ton ship with some room to grow. So maybe I decide to come back and upgrade the 105s to 128 millimeters. You know, put some 5-inch casement guns down in there. Speaking of which, at 5,000 meters, a 1.1 to 1.3 versus 1 to 1.2. Now, what I could do is I could toy with this. I'm going to put that in there just temporarily to kind of see what is going to happen to the 128s if I do it like that. And that brings us up to 1.2 to 1.5. 1.2 to 1.5. So at 5,000 meters, they're actually a little better off. And not to mention, they do reach out to 10,000 meters. So you could do that, but for now, For now, I'm gonna leave it with this. We've got a slight forward weight offset, which can be taken care of simply by adding another tenth of an inch of steel to the rear, to the aft belt, which I tend to like to actually balance my ships. This is how I like to balance my ships is the flat. If you keep everything else the same, I like to balance them slightly towards the front so that I can actually armor the rear end just a little bit more, just in case I have to withdraw the ship. So it's a thought. It's a school of thought for me anyway. And there we go. So as you can see, the pitch and the roll aren't great on this. It is a small dreadnought hull, so you do run into problems like that from time to time. The small dreadnought hull actually is supposed to only go up to 19,500 tons. That's if everything else is even. So we've got a multiple expansion steam boiler, or multiple expansion steam engine rather, and with induced draft boilers. Now, my hope is at one point that I'll be able to put engines in there that will not require the induced draft boiler. However, and this is another thing, is move the funnels forward because it more centers the engine to help better balance the ship. So anyway, we've got standard bulkheads, standard crew quarters. The range is actually kind of crazy right now. We can leave that alone, or we can reduce it a little bit. Oh yes, let's reduce that range just a little bit. Look at the chunk of change that took off of that. Actually, my real plan, my ultimate plan, would be to make these guys faster, and maybe make them into a pre-battle cruiser type of a setup, which would be fairly interesting. But anyway, we got a coincidence rangefinder. There's no actual slots, I don't think, for torpedo. Oh, we can put torpedo launchers on these guys. But there again, I don't like to put torpedo launchers on my capital ships. It's not something I typically like to do, unless I'm making like a Seawolf type of thing. You know, the Graf Spee is really good to put that on. But then again, that's a heavy cruiser. So we've got a early dreadnought build. She's sort of lean. I mean, we've made her fatter, but I mean her beam is still what? What is her beam? What is her beam? Her beam is 84 feet 10 inches, so it's almost 85 foot on the beam. That's kind of actually skinny, I think, still comparatively speaking. Our armor. Let me double check the armorings real quick. Yes, we did put those 4-inch guns on there. Can we go any higher than 6.4 inches? No. Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and drop these down to 2 inches. And let me see here. What's the max on those 2-inch guns? 3.2 inches. Okay. That'll be that. I could increase the diameter on the 11-inch guns a little bit if I really wanted to. I kind of don't actually. So we've got 105s in the hull casements, with quite a bit of armor, and then we've got 47 millimeters in the superstructure that should allow us to very, very effectively deal with any torpedo boats and anything. And if we get close, of course, they'll be able to start quite a bit of fires. All right, so max HE secondary shells. Yeah, okay. She's very well protected. We've got the best armor that we can put. We've got actually added torpedo protection now. Single bottom hull, that's all we've got right now, but the doubles I think are coming right around the corner. Reinforced bulkheads and Citadel #1. Now, can I reduce the tonnage a little bit? What if I go to say 19,500 tons? That's going to make the ship even cheaper. What about 19,000 tons? And no, that makes it too short. So 19,250. Will that put the length back? That will put the length back, and it makes the ship just a little bit cheaper. All right. So we've shaved a little bit of our cost. We've managed to do that. We've got a 20 knot ship, which is going to be pretty much probably about the fastest battleship on the seas right now. Probably. The range is halved right now. And again, we could increase that later. Like I said, these could be even later era could be very effective um, uh, zone of control type ships. So maybe break it into ones or twos, and use them to, like, send this up to Shetland, with a contingent of like destroyers and maybe a couple of light cruisers or something, light cruiser or two, and just use that fleet out of port to control an entire zone. That's a thought. Um, we'll have to see how effective it would be at that point. And there again, I can always add in. I'm kind of light actually on the secondary armaments right now. I could always add in a double barrel 88, somewhere probably right in here. Maybe I could put it up on a barbette. I don't know. Would that be something I could do? Again, though, that would cut into the pivoting ability on the on that. So these it's there again, though. You can make the ship make, and this is probably for later builds. So anyway, some guns have poor sector of fire. Not really, actually. The guns seem to be good. This I think has been an ongoing bug. Um, those are fine. Those are fine. Those are fine. That's all fine. So that up there has kind of been like this ongoing bug. 600,000 is what's the upkeep? The upkeep is 150 more than the Tsaringans, and the ship itself costs again about another 15 million more, just under that. But we're going to have a ship that will have a very very long service life, possibly, potentially. We'll have to see how it works. So let's go ahead and save this design. It's a good design. And that's really, with this game, it's kind of the biggest chunk of it is sometimes is shipbuilding. I think I got everything on there that I wanted to. 13-inch main belt is very very heavy, because the armor effectiveness of the Harvey armor is going to be, I mean, seriously, it's gone from 43% on the Zoxans, 43% on the Zaringans, to another 50. So we've got another inch on the main belt, and it's 10% more effective, right? So there again, your armorings are going to, they're going to greatly depend. All right. So while we've got this war going on, and actually it was good to drop the overall weight of the ship, because when you do, let me see here, the shipbuilding capacity, bigger ships will eat that up pretty quickly. But we are at 130,000 tons. So let's go ahead with a ship design. In 1900, we've designed the Prince Regent Luitpold. And let's go ahead and build 2 of those to start. Okay. And we'll launch those. I think Palau is a good place to launch those. Okay, so, and that there again brings up a very very important problem, because our Princess Wilhelms are not going to be able to keep up with the battleships. So we are going to want to go ahead and do we want to scrap that? Do we even need to upgrade those? We'll think on that. So let's go back to our ship designer, and we're going to go ahead and lay down a new heavy cruiser. And we can use that new armored cruiser 2 hull. So what's the difference? 79 form versus 78. The hull form is not as good on the armored cruiser number 2. Stability 35 to 31. So stability is better, floatability is better, resistance is the same, and sustained speed whilst turning actually is better. So let's go ahead and how big was the Princess Wilhelms? Those were 4,000 tons. Um, Something to consider for these too is, do I want to go down a gun size? Should I go down a gun size? Or should I stick with the sevens? Hmm. Anyway, let's have a look at these towers. The front tower number 3 is about 150 tons heavier. Or do we just go with the big front tower? What's the difference here? 5, 4, 6. 5, 4, 6. So it's a +1 on all of those. Let's go with front tower number 3. Secondary tower. We'll go with the big rear tower. We'll go with that. The reason for that, it's about as much as the front tower 3. It weighs a lot more, but the rear tower, 5, 4, 6. So it's another +1 on all of them. Let's see how much it makes this thing cost. Let's see here. I need this guy to go at least 22, I think. I need him to go that. I need him to go 22 knots. Standard bulkheads with standard crew quarters. We'll go with 8,000 tons, which is actually the minimum build for this cruiser. So we'll go with 8,000 tons for now. Let's see what that does. Let's go with the multiple expansion engine, hydraulic steering. And it looks like we're inducing a draft on the boilers. Okay, so the engine efficiency comes in at 104. Now, for the main guns, for this we need center lines. Do I want to go with 6s? And this is going to be the thing. Do I want to go with 6s, or do I want to stick with the 7s and then upgrade them later? Okay. So what's the difference between the 6s and the 7s? 7, 8, 7, 9. The 6s are actually more accurate. But, and that's the thing, is that the 7s are due to upgrade soon. So, let me see here. What's the difference in penetration? At 5,000 meters, they're going to do 2.2, 1.6. Let's look at 7,500 meters. Looking at 1.6 versus 2.8. It's almost double. So the 6s are actually more accurate right now. We'll make the barrels longer. 3.4. That actually buys the sixes some extra accuracy. And we were going with 7.5s. And the sixes, what would be the conversion? Because a 7.5, you know what? Let's go with six. Let's go with 6.5s for a second and see what that does. That's going to make 4.4.4 versus 0.2. See, the 7.5s, they're not going to hit anything. I can, and again, I can always upgun these later. The 6.9s. Rate of fire is 1.42, so the rate of fire is even better. What if I bring the sevens back down to 0? Because I'm kind of playing with a couple of things right now. So it's 2.4 versus 2.4 at the same range. So actually, the 6.9s are about. Where can I put those 6 inches so that they're performing fairly close? You know, what I could do. Why does 6.7 sound familiar? 1.5. You know what? Hold on just a second. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to look for 1.5 rounds per minute. Okay. Well, and that's going to alter things. So, what I could do is I could do 6-inch guns with heavy shells. Like 1.67. So 6. Let's go with 6.7-inch guns. 6.7 sounds really good. Let's put in heavy shells. That's going to bump him up to the 2.4. See, he goes up to 2.6, but that's okay. And I can always upgrade to 7s at another time. Do I want semi-armor piercing? Oh, that's going to be interesting, actually. Because now he's up at 4.4. And he's up at 4.7. Heavy and standard shells. Oh, and another thing, 187 tons. Versus 260. Yeah, those 6-inch is going to make it a whole lot lighter. Okay. Wow, why did that? What? Wow, that was weird. Okay. Keep that tight to that. We'll keep that there, and we'll put that. Off the stern like we've been doing. Okay, so for secondary guns, let's go with. Oh wow, we can't do that yet, can we? The 4-inch singles don't even work on it. So let's take a look at these casements. I'm going to go ahead and put some. We'll put 8 105s. The forward weight, the forward offset on these things is terrible. We'll have to make it a little fatter if we're going to fit that in. So let's go with 1 inch on the beam. Go with 2 inches on the beam. Go with 3 inches on the beam. Okay. Or 3% rather, sorry. 3% on the beam. So let's go ahead and put a couple of twin 88s on there. Okay, come on. And then these 2-inch guns. Put one there. Put one there. Put one there. Put one there. Okay. Alright, 2-inch guns. And the 2-inch guns go down. These go 0.5. Jeez, crow. Okay, let's go 4%. Okay, let's go 5%. Okay, let's go 6%. 7%. You know what? We're going back to 0. I'm not messing around with this. Let's do those there. Okay. And then we'll go with 88s. Wow. So I'm not allowed. Oh my goodness. Okay. Well, then we'll put those there. And we'll put those back to where I had them. Okay, so 1047s, 8 105s, and 4 88s. Okay. Wow, so the 88s, I can't even mount them up top. That's really odd. I can't even put them up there. That's really weird. You know, it might be fun though, just because. Just because, right? I know. Maybe it looks a little goofy, but that could be interesting. Okay. Now let's fix the armoring. Can I put 6? Yes, I can put 6. I can put 3. The main deck, we're going to stick with 1 inch right now on the decks. Except for the forward deck. Let's drop the forward deck a little bit because we're still at a time when we don't have to. Okay. 22 knots, hydraulic steering. Let's keep these guys with, I guess, an inferior armor. Help to keep the cost down anyway. Yeah. And I know this is just, it's something I'm doing to keep the cost actually down on these guys a little bit. We'll go a ½ inch over on the rear armor. Nine inches on the conning tower. Tell you what, we'll go with 8 inches on the conning tower. Superstructure, we'll go with 1 inch. The forward weight. I mean, how do you get rid of the forward weight offset on these things? These designs are kind of really tough. They're very tough in that regard. Here's what I might do. I think this is what I'm gonna have to do. I'm gonna go ahead and take that out of there and put that one on the stern. So now I got 6/88s on here as opposed to just okay. Can I live with that? Okay, so let's see here. Can I bump the weight down to 75? 100 tons without... Oh no, the minimum displacement on this is 8,000. That's right. Okay. That's about the craziest darn thing, though. We'll make those 4 1s a little longer, too. All right. And that's going to be our Kaiserin Augusta cruiser. It's still weighted a lot more than I like towards the forward end, but I don't know what else you're going to do. I don't want to go any lighter on the forward belt. All right, that's going to be that. We'll go ahead and save that as is. Okay, and the Kaiser and Augusta, we're going to go ahead and build one of those for now. And we'll also launch that in Pilau. Okay, Palau is holding a lot of our ships right now, too. Two of the Ariadne class. That actually reminds me because I think the new destroyers that we built are going to be yes, they're coming. They're coming in Palau first. 17-inch fast prop torpedoes, and then the other ones are coming into Hamburg. Okay. Okay. Now, 2 months for those. That's a lot of new destroyers. Um, 16 months. So a year and 4 months. Um, okay, so where's the other Zeringen? I think the other Zeringen is actually being repaired right now, isn't it? Or is it? I don't know. The Ager is right there. Is that doing what I think it's doing? Yes. Okay, leave the shipyard. We don't want to be in the shipyard anymore. Um, so where did it go is the question. Where did I put it? Was it in Emden? I think it's in Emden. Yeah, it's in Emden. Cream pie, cheap viewers. Yeah, okay, thanks, but I don't really care to pay for my viewership. So I appreciate the offer, but I don't really want to go there. Oh wow, both of those destroyers are completely out of ammunition. Okay. All right. So it looks like this was pretty much a building episode. That does remind me though. Maybe instead of pushing the engine, no, you know what? Let's stick with pushing the engines because the small guns is over there. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm gonna in turn go grab some coffee. I'll be right back. I love it. I love it. It's he's suddenly replaced. It's like, yeah, I think they've been talking about this for a while. It's not. Well, then again, I think he only lasted about a month, so maybe it was very sudden. All right, all right, all right, all right, all right. Yes, you'll realize I have very little transition